I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
podcast
on the Citadel.
Enchantment?
Enchantment!
Welcome to Accidentally Casual. I am Seeker Cat 5500, and because I'm doing the intro, you know what that means? It's Dragon Age time. So with me is Minius GC.
Hello.
And as a magical guest star, we have Ability Drain.
Oh, what? It's me. I'm back.
Yay!
And Tucker's not in the podcast.
No.
Tucker doesn't know shit about Dragon Age because he's still in the hinterlands. So
thank the maker.
We've lost him.
Yes. He was immediately booted out of the podcast the second it was like, he was coming up with ideas and he was like, no. It's all like that person who tries to get a joke, but you would have to explain the joke to them as they're telling the joke, and it's just, it doesn't quite work. So we love you, Tucker, just not for Dragon Age.
Apologies to everybody because we're going to stay on topic, and it's going to be weird.
I'm Tucker now.
If you want to be. Just come up with random facts that have absolutely nothing to do with the podcast.
That makes you sound as though, like, Tucker is being possessed by an entity known as Tucker, so that Tucker is now migrated to Ability Drain.
For those who have only listened to Accidentally Casual Ability Drain, who are you?
Who am I? Wow. Okay, so I sometimes do YouTube. When I do, and there's something to talk about Dragon Age, then it's predominantly Dragon Age related stuff. And when it's not, it's any old shit, really.
Oh, don't say that. You agree.
Dragon Age or any old shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
That covers almost everything.
Yeah, pretty much. So long as it's game related and it's not crap, then yeah.
Although you have covered some crap. There is some crap you have blatant, yeah.
The one-hit wonders are kind of shit. Aside from that, I am a voice actor, and yeah, that's about
fancy.
it. Not really, no.
No,
it sounds
it's
like
fancy.
it would be. It really is.
No, I'm calling it fancy.
It's fancy.
I like vocal work a lot, so fancy.
They're all like, what, with her voice? No way.
Me? No.
Well, I don't use my real voice very rarely.
They totally should, though. I mean, like, I would love to, like, I have no idea what my reaction would be if I was just, like, in the middle of playing a game, and it's, like, an intense firefight, and it's like, come on, I've got to concentrate, and then, like, your voice comes over the speakers, and I'd be like,
I move your arse, you fucking wanker. Yeah, no, there would probably be something like that.
I'd probably be like, wow, it's Ability Drain. Like, it's Ability Drain. Oh my god!
I'll tell you what, then, you might want to be playing Beyond Good and Evil 2, because I'm pretty sure I'm in that. As in, basically, I've been doing stingers for the game for like some sort of weird hit record collaboration thing that they're doing with Beyond Good and Evil 2, and they've picked a few of mine. So my voice could be in the game. I'm not too sure yet. I don't want to be like, yes, I'm definitely in, just in case. Like, I don't want to jinx it, but at the moment, it looks like my voice is going to be in the game. So
Beyond Good and Evil is definitely one of those games I've been desperate to see more of.
So like, just when you're in the game, keep the radio on and you'll probably hear me.
Oh, I always do.
I would like to be a main character in a multiplayer game and then go on and play the multiplayer and do lines randomly and try to freak people out.
Yeah, or you could be like the inner voice of your character.
Yeah,
exactly.
That'd
be hilarious.
And I tell people to do certain things. Look out for that mortar! And everyone's like, what?
So well like that character. You could trick them into thinking that was in game and then getting killed.
If they ask me if I'm a character, I won't respond. I'll just do lines from the game.
Here's the thing, though. You know Overwatch?
Yeah.
The voice of Winston and McCree not only both play the game, but they will do the "It's high noon," even when they're not playing their own characters, just to freak out the other team.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh yeah, of course you're gonna do that if you have the power Like, it's not
Right,
like
yeah.
they're not authorized. They don't need to be Spider-Man in the situation. Of course, they can use that irresponsibly.
Well, you want to do that in like a multiplayer when someone's playing your character on the opposite team, and you could give them like orders and get them in shit, and they'd think it was a character, and it wasn't. It was you.
So anyway, this is a Dragon Age podcast.
Yes,
Woo!
yes. So
In case you didn't realize.
anyway, okay, we got a little bit sidelined, but yeah, we're gonna go through like certain points, so to establish what Dragon Age means to us individually, and elements of it we love and don't love, and the sort of general idea we would like the franchise to go in regards to things like Dragon Age 4 or the future of the franchise. So to kick us all off with all that.
Hold on, I want to.
Oh yeah.
Couple things. First of all, if you haven't played Dragon Age and all the DLC, stop. And then
Get
do
the
that.
fuck
Liberal spoilers.
And then come back.
Get out!
There's no way we're not going to spoil everything.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to do our logo contest this week. We're doing it next week, so we can get Tucker on for that.
Yes, sorry.
So thanks for your entries. We got some really good ones.
I also wanted to shout out for BioWare. Thank you so much for dropping an Anthem trailer this weekend. The one time we decided to take a break and do a Dragon Age podcast.
They
Yes,
did.
They're about to, yeah.
they
so-
may do that, and if they do, we're not going to talk about it because we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I've tried, but I'm not that interested in Anthem. I mean, to play, definitely, but as a topic of conversation, it's not grabbing
I
me
think
yet.
at the moment it's a TBD. It's just
Right.
there's so much up in the air. I totally get a lot of people. Like I've stated several times on the podcast, I'm super excited for it, just because a lot of the creative processes and the stuff they've said, and I still have faith in BioWare. But
And
I
it's a new
understand-
IP, isn't it?
Of
And
course,
it's not
yeah.
a RPG, so automatically a lot of people are like, well, I'm kind of on the fence about this, or nah, fuck it, this looks shite,
It's not,
or whatever.
it's not an RPG,
Right,
and there's
yeah.
no romance. What am I?
Yeah.
What am I
They-
even here
they
for?
Need,
Right.
They need a story trailer really bad, and that might do it.
I'm not into MMOs, so when they released Star Wars: The Old Republic, I was like, not that bothered. Played it recently and got hooked. So I don't
Yeah.
want to judge and say Anthem isn't a game for me when I haven't played it yet.
I
and
was gonna
it could
say
well
that-
surprise me.
Yeah, Star Wars: The Old Republic is sort of the MMO for people who hate MMOs. It's
Right,
like
yeah.
you can totally single player
It's good
story
shit.
that shit if you want to.
Yeah, that's what I do because I'm very antisocial.
Oh,
with
yeah,
that game.
me too.
Like, nope, get away.
It's
I just
like,
get
I am
guild offers. It's like, no, go away. I'm a solo artist.
I have played MMOs where people have come up and tried to play with me, and I get really irritated about it.
Yeah, I do.
And
Go away. You're
that's-
ruining the story.
I loved being in the RP servers. So if someone wanted to be in your group, bear in mind, like, I'm an antisocial bastard anyway, they would have to like ask you in their own character, like to join their team. And I just thought that was so cute. I was just like, oh, go on then. I'll do the raid or strike or whatever it is with you.
Well, it's all fine until they start doing like a romance role-playing scene right in
Oh,
the middle
yeah,
of the
yeah,
cantina, and you're like, "Do you have to? I'm trying to buy shit here and have a drink. Go away."
Oh,
Stop that.
no, there was someone doing that, and like, bear in mind, it was like Lucas level dialogue, so it was like really, like, staggeringly
pull out my
not good
throbbing
and
lightsaber.
unromantic. Oh no, that would have been hysterical. This was just like, when like younger, like kids just trying to experience romance are trying to be super sincere with it, but they don't quite have the vocabulary or the understanding of their own feelings to sort of process it yet. So they're just doing this super dramatic stuff, and it was kind of adorable. But I started just sort of shit talking the both of them while stood right next to them. It was so funny. Anyway, sorry, on to Dragon Age. God, I become Tucker apparently in absence of Tucker. So what would you say your guys' first experience with Dragon Age was?
Oh, I can tell you with vivid detail if you want.
Do
So I was in, and I think I've told this a few times on the previous podcast, but I was in a very abusive relationship, and the guy I was with at the time had borrowed Dragon Age off of one of my friends, and I was kind of in the process of leaving his ass, and I was like, if I don't take this game with me, then I'm gonna have to buy my friend a new game. So I was like, okay. And whilst I was kind of stuck with the guy, and he'd gone, I think he was like learning to drive or some shit, I was like, well, I'm bored, so I might as well play a game on his Xbox. And I loaded it up, and I thought that Dragon Age Origins was going to be like a medieval Command and Conquer. So I was like, this is probably not going to be my shit. And I started playing it, and I was like, this reminds me of Jade Empire. So I quickly had a look, and I was like, shit, it's by BioWare, the same developers. So I was like, okay, I'm probably going to enjoy this then. By the time I got out of Ostagar, I was just completely hooked, and I spent hundreds of hours playing that. And it was good because I got to kind of avoid my ex and all the shittiness with him. And when you're more interested in being in game and romancing your
Fictional
boyfriend, yeah, than you are your actual boyfriend, and the guy in the game treats you better than your real life boyfriend, you're like, okay, yeah, there's a real problem here. So for me, Dragon Age Origins was obviously a game that was a good escape, but it kind of got me through this really shitty rough patch and actually helped me leave my then boyfriend, because it really hit home how badly I was being treated. So I was like, well, look, if a warden can go and attack an archdemon, I can fucking leave this dickhead. So it really kind of just pushed me into doing it. And the funny thing was that my ex was so jealous of Alistair. So you can get what kind of like nutcase he was.
Jesus.
We're talking like full-on
I think
gaslighting nutter.
we may have dated the same fucking guy.
Oh, probably. Yeah, I'm serious. He was
You guys-
jealous of Alistair. Damn right he should have been. Alistair is a god.
Yeah.
So you basically left your boyfriend for Alistair.
Yeah, I guess. And rightly so.
Yeah. What would he be the god of, though? Cheese and good hair.
Yeah, the god of witticism.
I don't think he's quite that witty.
Because he is very
though.
witty.
Yeah, he is witty, but yeah.
In a doofy kind of
Yeah,
way.
doofy witticism. Yeah, I think that
which
works.
I like. I think that's pretty cool. I don't usually go for gingers either.
So so just to cover my experience with it, because like BioWare in general was sort of the thread that I had a very similar thread to you, but sort of with later titles. But when I first discovered Dragon Age, I was actually single, but I was super depressed, and I'd recently discovered Mass Effect 2, and I was like, oh, these are by the same guys who did like Neverwinter Nights and KOTOR, and I was like, oh yeah, I know of these games. I'd played Neverwinter, of course, but I knew KOTOR had a sterling reputation. I was like, I want to play these games. I want to really, really play them. And I was like, oh, I don't suppose they have any other franchises that are on, current gen at the time. I was like, oh, they have a fantasy series called Dragon Age. I've always been more of a fantasy person than a sci-fi person, as much as I adore sci-fi. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go. I walked out of the house the second I Googled Dragon Age existence, went and got a secondhand copy, played it, and I basically didn't stop for a while until I completed the game. And like, it seems so silly, like, to try and justify this response to someone who hasn't experienced the really low lows I was at the time. But when I was romancing Alistair, there's a line he says to you where he's talking about this rose he's found. And he says, of course, every Alistair romancer loves this scene.
Yes,
but
that's the one.
He sort of comes up out of the blue to you and says, I found this rose. I know I shouldn't really have taken it, but the Darkspawn would have just destroyed it. However, I was looking at it, I thought, how could something so beautiful exist in a world of such darkness? Funny enough, I think the same when I look at you.
And that's it, I'm done.
Yeah, I was like,
Take me now.
I might as well stick my heart in my chest and hand it to you. But it was just like in that moment, I remember it so vividly, like the exact line, because suddenly I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I realized that it made me feel slightly less alone in that moment.
Yeah. Did you have any idea that there was actually romance in the game? Because when I played it, I didn't. Suddenly this guy's handed me this rose, and I was like, kind of like this guy anyway, because he's funny, and I'm a sucker for the funny. And I was just like, holy shit, this game is like the best thing that's ever been invented.
Oh my god, I can actually
wooed.
have all the pluses of romance, well, bar the sex, if it's any good,
Yeah.
but with none of the downsides. It's terrific.
Right, I was like, sweet. Because I didn't even, when I played Jade Empire, I don't think I was aware that there was romances in that. I don't think I ever even encountered them the first time I played it. So when I played Dragon Age, again, I just didn't know it was in there.
I think
and then
I
it was only
sort
until
of like subconsciously was thinking like, oh, I imagine this will be like an end of the game sort of thing where, because of course you don't get Zebran until so much later.
Yeah.
So because I was anticipating, okay, there probably aren't any queer romance options in the game, little did I know, that it will probably just be like a smooch from Alistair at the end of the game, if anything.
Right, yeah.
So when he gave me the road, like with dialogue options and the whole, also I had a look at the character sheet and the relationship values go up to love. So I was like, like what kind of love is this? Like, get on this scale of Greek, like Greek scales of love, which ones are we talking about?
What bases can we hit here?
Yeah.
Let's see.
So those were two super deep stories about how Dragon Age has impacted our lives. You want to chime in on this, Minnie?
I have no idea how I'm going to follow either of those up. I'm sitting here thinking like, man, my story is so pathetic.
just dramatic it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dramatize it. That's what I meant.
My dog had just died.
Oh.
That's
No,
worse.
I'm
That
making
is
stuff
worse.
up. My dog. I
No,
was
I
going to make
believe
up.
that was very good.
I know.
Yeah.
I should have gone.
I just
with
want to
it.
make a point
Should've
that I'm a
gone with
nervous laugher, so my laugh then was sort of just a release of nervous energy. I was not genuinely finding it funny that, oh, Minius's dog died. Like, Minius's hypothetical dog died.
Hypothetical.
Poor
And then the
hypothetical dog.
Mubari was there, and I started crying.
Oh, I love that Mabari.
We have a winner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now here's a very important Dragon Age related question. What do you call your Mabari?
I called it Barkspawn before I even played a DLC.
I like.
And I was like, no way, it's called Barkspawn in the DLC. And I learned that Alistair had called it that, and I was like, holy shit, it's meant to be. Dog puns.
We have the same completely ridiculous, doofy sense of humour. He's the one.
I was like,
Yeah.
the ultimate right there.
Ever since I because Barkspawn wasn't the first thing I called him, because basically a while ago, years ago now, I ended up finding a puppy in my dad's driveway.
Aw.
Like he didn't have a collar. We found out later he was tagged, and bless him. It turns out that I know, but I had to take him to the vet, and they found out at the vet, so it was like, okay, fair enough. But basically, like, I had a really sweet story from the kennels they took him to, that the family were literally sat there for about half an hour before the place even opened. They were so desperate to get him back. So I was like, yeah, happy story. But basically, I quote, had him, this little dog, for about a day, maybe two. And I'd already fallen so completely in love with this little dog.
Oh, no,
and he was so
away.
like blatantly trained and loving, and I just literally, I gave him back. I left the vet, went and sat in the car, and just bawled my eyes out for about an hour.
Worst day ever.
I know, but I like, because I had no really other context of what to call him. I just started calling him Puppy. Turns out his name was Buddy, which was really weird.
Oh, that was close.
Yeah, so I think he must have just heard the similarity and just assumed I was trustworthy. Yeah, but yeah. So I have a tendency to call any sort of pet I get puppy in sort of mourning the dog I never quite had. If that makes any sense.
If I'd done that, I'd be calling them stink poo, because every dog I have shits on my rug, so they become stink poo.
I think this is
So I
why
should
I've
just call them that
never
from now on.
resented it, because I've never had a pet dog. My mum's had pet dogs, and I swear to God, I've tread in more in that animal's crap than I have any other thing in my life. One time, it was at Christmas, I was there, and I shit you not, funny enough in the context of the conversation, but I walked in 4 different separate piles of dog shit from a straight line from one place to another, because of course you step in one and you're like, oh god, I gotta go find something.
Yeah,
to
you're
clean
just
up
like,
with.
oh no.
Yeah, so literally first one, walking
man.
to the kitchen in order to get something to clean it up with, 3
doing
other
another.
ones, and I was like, oh, you.
Oh no.
Because at that
I
point,
can't tell. Is it worse stepping in cold dog poo or warm dog poo? I still can't decide which is
Is it
worse.
worth? Or which is worse?
Worse. No, it's
Warm
never
is
worse.
way worse.
Standing.
yeah,
I don't know, because cold means it's been there a while, and it's like,
Yes, but then
it was
it's
all on my
kinda-
mum's carpet, so it
some
was
of
all
it is
sort of,
hardened
yeah.
up, and it's not anywhere near as bad.
I don't know, man. Just the thought of it's making me cringe.
Yeah.
Well, you're stepping in dog poo. Of course, it's not like
But
one
more
of them's
importantly,
good.
who did you romance in Origins, and who was your favorite and all that? The original question.
Yeah.
I thought the original question, what you name your dog, was. I haven't even gotten to my actual story.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Your story.
Hurry up,
trying to bring it back on
It's not a
topic.
romance story.
Us interrupt you in your story.
Well, I mean, you might have romanced the dog, but I'm pretty sure.
I did not romance the dog. I named the dog Flynn after my dog because that dog was hilarious.
Aww.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't name it. Like, I usually name my dogs like Dog because I think it's funny, or Wolf, and I'm not Wolf as in like the animal, like Woof, like WOOF,
yeah.
or
Could
Bark.
put Deefer dog.
It's deeper. I really dragged my feet for playing Dragon Age because I wasn't feeling it. I played the Mass Effect series and I love that so much that I had to get into it. And I put it in. I'm like, I'm not sure about this game. And I played for like 10 hours.
Yeah. It's all that thing where you go in and you're like, I'm not sure if this is me. Like 20 hours later, it's like, what happened?
You're like,
what?
Huh.
Yeah,
and then you're like, okay.
What's his life?
Is this real life?
And then I was like, I probably shouldn't do that the next day. And then I did again. And I went, okay, I like this game.
So I'm going to hazard a guess.
And who did you romance and how was it?
I'm going to have a guess that it was Liliana.
It was Liliana. And I did. It felt weird. I didn't enjoy that romance too much.
She was a bit creepy, to be fair.
Yeah,
I would have much preferred to romance her in Inquisition because she was a scary bitch. And I was like, that's more like it.
You know what I loved is when because there's a really, really interesting dialogue option when you're talking. Because bear in mind, like for a while, for whatever reason, it took me ages to actually trigger Liliana's personal quest. So I didn't find this out until a couple of playthroughs in. But when she's like that quote hardening conversation you have with her, and she asks you a question that you could basically in context respond to as a friend, which I did. I can't remember exactly what the line is, but anyone who's come across this will know exactly the moment I'm talking about. And then suddenly, like, Alistair was coming to me, was like, "So you and Liliana seem to be awfully close.
Like,
so we still a thing?" And I was like, "Whoa, no, no!" I don't like.
I was like, at what point I was just being nice, and the next thing I know, she's trying to get in my pants. Like, what? 1 minute we were talking about shoes, the next thing she's trying to jump my bones.
If Morrigan was trying to get in my warden's pants, then oh man, that would be like between Alistair, Morrigan, and Zebran, that would be a genuine fucking dilemma for me every single playthrough.
I did do that with all three of them
like
for a laugh.
100% straight. But yeah, like
Morrigan creeped me out. I love Claudia Black's voice. I love her voice, and she's like crazy mean, and that turned me off. It did. I'm glad I have some moral fiber because she's basically a hot chick with her shirt not on. So that should be automatic for a young boy. I mean, or like a teenager.
Have you met young boys? That seems to be
not young boy. I was thinking like high school, but yeah.
I know what you meant. That's what I was assuming as well. But it's like,
there's no standard. Just like whoa. And that's it. I was a little bit proud of myself.
Someone's on a period.
Speaking of Claudia Black, do you know that she actually ended up playing, I think it was like either a Baldur's Gate or Jade Empire or something, and she found the writing was so good, she basically rang up the studio and begged, like, is there anything you have, because I'd love to be in one of your games. And literally, like, David Gator said that he was literally writing Morrigan thinking, you know what? So he ended up casting her.
Yeah, I'm like that. I'm like, BioWare, I'll voice a sentient like log. I don't care. Just give me a part in your damn game.
Yeah.
I'm working on it, okay?
I would just be like,
everyone's like, every time on Twitter, I'm like, I'm working on like a voiceover for a game. They're like, oh, is it BioWare? Is it Dragon Age? I was like, I fucking wish. I wish it was.
To be fair, it's
straight away because of my history with them. They're like, are you in a BioWare game? I'm like, not yet. I am trying.
Hilariously though, the one time you would be like remotely coy about it, it's like, we knew it. You're in a fucking BioWare game.
I would be screeching.
Like,
You just couldn't keep it quiet.
I would
get
shit my
fired
pants
before you start. I got hired, and they're like, "No, okay, we can't use you."
Well, funnily enough, I did some voiceover. This I found really, really weird. I did some voiceover for some Alexa game. I didn't know what it was. It was only a small part, and I was like, well, fuck it, and I got the job. And I only found out the other day that this new company are made up of like ex-BioWare employees, and I was like, what? And the person that hired me obviously didn't know I had a history doing like BioWare game stuff or or anything like that. I didn't know what I was applying for, and it just turned out that like ex-BioWare employees were involved. And I'm like, once again, BioWare has been involved in one of my career moves, and I find that very weird that they seem to pop up at like important times in my life. So I'm like, well, there we go. It's meant to be. I should be in a BioWare game.
I guess you'll just have to get married to BioWare. I guess that is your destiny.
That's it. Got to marry Alistair.
Yeah.
Shit.
That's your romance. The entire company.
Yeah, just the whole building, everyone in it.
Yep.
One big waifu.
One big polyamorous relationship for with a bunch of people who may or may not know you exist.
And then they have to hire me
Yeah.
because it's the dumb thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so like moving ever so slightly on, what would you guys say your favorite entry in the series is? Because this tends to be a very divisive thing very quickly. But yeah.
Origins.
People get mad about it too, so I'm kind of afraid to say.
Say it.
Dragon Age
People.
Origins. You like 2, don't you?
I loved it. 2 is my favorite, although I have very personal reasons for loving 2 as much as I do. 2 basically scratches a lot of very personal itches that I've wanted to see it fulfills a lot of stuff I've wanted to play in a game for as long as I can remember. Sort of like, when you have that undefined thing that you want in like a piece of fiction that you don't even realize you had until something turns up and shows you it.
And then you're like, that's what I was missing.
Every game should be like this, and then everything is like this, and you're like, no, this is not good. But I have very personal reasons for DA2 being my favorite. Also because it's like the underdog of the series, I feel compelled to defend it against people who are just like, oh yeah, it's shit. Who gives it? Who everyone hates DA2.
It took a while,
and it's like, especially since like the backlash towards it is starting to come around, and now people are defending it more, and it's becoming more of a cult thing.
Right, I think once people realised that it was to bridge a gap between Origins and Inquisition, and you could see it for what it is, it was like a build up to the story going forward. Then when you see it like that, you're like, oh shit, because at first I wasn't that keen on Dragon Age 2. I didn't hate it, but I was like, it's all right. But once I accepted it for what it was and sort of realised where it was going, I was like, actually, this is really good. But the 3 things that kind of really made the game for me, Cullen, obviously,
Fenris,
Barrick, because who doesn't
Barrick.
love Barrick, and Nicholas Bolton as Sarcastic Hawk. The 3 of them, they really made that worth it. And I really like Nick Bolton, and he follows me on Twitter, so I'm just like, yes!
You know, it was hysterical. I was watching like Jonathan Creek with my boyfriend a couple of weeks ago, and like we were sort of like, making out a little bit because I was a little bit bored with this episode, and then suddenly this voice comes on and I was like, Nicholas Bolton!
Nicholas Bolton! Oh!
And then of course, all attention immediately diverted 100% for the episode. I think he was a bit disappointed, to be honest. But,
I was watching Shakespeare in Love, and suddenly
a
very young Nick Bolton comes on stage, and I was like, oh my god! I was really excited, so excited. I took a screenshot.
And he's in Game of Thrones as well. He's in like
yes, he was
season 6, I believe, the one with the dragon pit. Not the dragon pit. When Daenerys was still back in Essos. At the tail end of that, he's like, I announced these games and stuff. And I was like, he's speaking entirely like I imagine it's Giscari. But I was like, speak English! Come on, it's Hawk! Come on! And I was just like losing my shit. Anyway. But yeah, so like I said, I have very personal reasons for DA2 being my favourite. But Minius, I don't think you said what your favourite was.
Poor guy, you see,
just being badgered for answers.
I kind of like Inquisition. I like different parts of each game.
Yeah.
I think the intro options of Origins is amazing.
I love those.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like they're just.
I wish they'd bring those back.
Yeah.
That makes that game stand out quite a bit.
Yeah.
I like playing melee characters though, and it's kind of rough to.
They definitely
hasn't aged well.
In Dragon Age 2, that actually worked for me. So I like that part of Dragon Age 2, and then Inquisition probably for a lot of their concepts, which some people didn't quite like, which is fine. But I was actually very curious in some of the stuff they did, so it was interesting.
I love Inquisition's main storyline, absolutely flawless. It was just the side quests that got a bit tedious.
It was also
it wasn't it's fetch quests.
It's like, we have these amazing maps, and it suffered from not
much going on,
enough butter on the
too
toast
many
sort of thing. So it was just like, it was like the hint of, like I've said this before, but it's like I would bet money that it started Inception as an MMO and then got shifted to a single player game when they realized that the fan base would fucking revolt if it became an MMO. So
mind you, I mean, Star Wars: The Old Republic suffers from that a bit.
Oh yeah, I understand, but at least Star Wars: The Old Republic, despite the disappointment from KOTOR fans, it's like, oh, we're not getting a 3, we're getting an MMO. Bear in mind,
well, they got Revan. What more do they?
Exactly, they got HK47. They got like Confirmation of the Exile, and it's like, yeah, there's all good stuff there. But between, like, if you can imagine, like, what the fan base would absolutely just tear itself into if it went from Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age MMO, it would just be chaos. So
oh god, don't. I hope they don't.
Oh yeah, never.
Just finish the damn story, and then maybe once that's finished, then consider.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah. But so you would say tentatively, Minius, that your favorite is Origins?
No, I'd say my favorite is Inquisition, just for the fact that I've never played a character that's more powerful than that. Not necessarily in their abilities, but in the fact that they're basically running a whole camp and army and movement.
Even if you still have to go pick all your damn elf fruit yourself.
Yes.
Like, cannot delegate for shit, can the Inquisitor.
I have
picking elf fruit.
I have a soft spot for picking up herbs in games.
Yeah,
so
it's
that
cathartic.
Didn't bother me the
you sit there
yeah.
and you just go do some gardening, pick some herbs. It's fine.
Yeah, I think I think the war table could have used some work, especially with it making a lot more clear about the consequences of
my poor elven family.
Oh, yes, I know, right?
I was like, well, they're dead now. I'm an orphan. Great.
Suddenly, like, because I basically stopped paying attention to the text on the war table. Sorry, I was trying to I was trying to race through it, and then I was looking through like my character page for myself because I was like, oh, I wonder what it says about me. And suddenly it says, all of Clan Llewellyn was slaughtered by Bell. Like, what? When did that happen? And I was like frantically going back. I was like,
Cullen's
that was like 40 hours ago. Oh, Jesus. And I was like, fuck you, Cullen. And of course I was sleeping with Cullen at the time. So I was like, why?
It's like, you did that.
You did it.
I'll never forgive you. And then later on, it's like, I'd like to meet your family or some sort of talk of it. It's like, well, you've killed them all.
They're
so
dead, Cullen. They're all dead. They're gone, child. They're all gone.
I've only got you now, so don't ditch me.
But not to mention that you are all that is left, Cullen.
Yeah.
And also,
the
other one that everyone fucks up on is that getting all like the Grey Wardens killed.
Yes, I finally did that. In my last one, I managed to keep them alive. There was only like 3 of them left, I think.
You can keep them alive? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
barely.
Oh, man.
You lose a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, well.
Basically, like, the text goes from either like, oh, basically they're all gone bar like, I don't know, 15 maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what I had.
Or like there was triumph and losses were held, but the Wardens stood firm. Like, it's that kind of difference.
Well, I was like, well, there's probably some more somewhere else, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Just take some from
Oh yeah, but there's that Grey Warden civil war on the horizon that they're hinting at, so it's like, this is terrific. Yay!
I don't care. So long as Carver and Alistair and my Warden are fine, fuck a lot of them. Bollocks to the rest.
Oh god.
I'll be so angry if they kill off my Warden or Alistair. Oh man.
I'm gonna be really gutted.
Alistair or Hawk. I was so angry.
Yeah.
I went and bloody changed my canon just so that I could sacrifice sodding Stroud.
Yeah.
Bastards. I was so angry.
I actually started mentally referring to him as McMustache. I was like, oh, it's Stroud, I remember you. And my sister messaged me like, who the fuck is Stroud? I was like,
Man McMustache.
Yeah. Because I remember, because she only played DA2 through once or once or twice. So she didn't remember, like, because I think just both times she kept her sibling out of the deep road, so she never even met him.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh my god, no wonder that's a bit like out of fucking nowhere for her. But it was originally what they were originally going for with that choice, right?
Warden and Hawk.
Warden and Hawk. It was going to be a choice between
fuck
Warden.
The Warden weren't voiced. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, sorry, like, because literally it boiled down to, sorry, mate. Like, it's Fenris. Fenris's priority among all things.
I couldn't do it to Alistair. Yeah. I'd have to make a really shitty Hawk that I hate, and then just turn that as my canon Hawk. and then kill that one off. But it'd have to be female Hawk because I can't stand the voice she puts on. It's too posh.
Oh, I love Jo Wyatt. I think she's great for what it is.
Yeah, as Siri, love her. But when she does that posh accent, I want to kill myself. It's just like, stop it. I feel like you're being condescending to me all the time. Stop talking.
You don't have a very good history with posh people, do you?
No, and then I get told off for it. They're just like, why are you insulting the accent? It's legit. I was like, I know it's a legit accent. I'm just saying that it grates on my nerves. Fuck you. Yes, I know I can do that accent as well, but it's not the point. There's a reason why I don't.
I have a question for you, too. How many times did you replay the series until you got a full continuity that you liked?
Oh,
fucking hell.
Well, I think by the time 2 even came out, I probably binged Origins about at least, I would say, upwards of 5 to 10 times. So
with Origins,
yeah. And like that was before 2 came out. Bear in mind, like I discovered Origins beginning of the year that Dragon Age 2 got released. So I had like a 3-month lead, and I still managed to complete it like nearly 10 times.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wow.
So just to give you an idea of how crunched I was to just devoted to playing friggin' Dragon Age.
That's really close to my level when I was unemployed.
I was unemployed at the time. That's why.
There you go.
I was living with my parents and very unemployed. So I was like, you know,
wow,
I'm sad.
I played this game. I've been playing games for 15 hours.
Yeah, I need to do all the Origins.
Mass Effect 2 in like less than 2 days.
Yeah.
The full like 30-hour run.
Yeah, you binge like I did.
And I'm like, oh wow, that's.
With Origins, Dragon Age Origins, I think I clocked in well over 900 hours. That's how obsessed I was. And I would go back to it as well. Dragon Age 2, maybe 700 hours, because obviously by that point I was doing YouTube, so there was a lot of going back to research everything. Inquisition, not as much, although like I said, the Inquisition playthrough, which is now like my ultimate one, I clocked in maybe 600 hours, but again I was researching for like future videos and stuff. But yeah, a lot of hours have gone into Dragon Age in general.
I honestly just have a big floating question mark for the idea, because if I start to do the math on how many hours I must have spent, I start to feel sad and die a little inside, because I'm just like...
And this is also across platforms as well,
of course,
not just PC and stuff.
Because I literally have Dragon Age Origins on my Xbox One, I've got it on PC, on Steam, and I've got it on... No, not on PC, sorry, I've got the bloody disc. So, like, across platforms, it's like, I don't even know how to quantify how many hours I put in. And the only reason I got the PC version was to put mods in. And the most hysterical mod I've ever seen, and I don't think anything has quite topped this, there is a DLC, and you may know where this is going. I'm sure someone in the listening to this does, called Return to Ostagar. Now,
yes.
Now,
I encountered this.
Yes. So,
I encountered this earlier this year, and everyone saw me tweeting about it.
Yeah, but let me set this up. Minius, have you played this DLC?
It's the best.
I don't think I have.
Okay, basically what you do is you, as the title indicates, you return to Ostagar, and you basically sort of avenge Duncan, find some notes, you encounter some like unique-ish darkspawn, and then you get like a super
I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah, this super bling set of armor and sword, and it's pretty cool. But there's this very moving moment. Okay.
Well, it would have been moving. Something was certainly moving.
A moving moment where you discover the body of King Kaelin. I'm trying to get through this with a straight face, but she's cracking me up. You discover the body of King Kaelin, and this sad music plays. Everyone looks suitably sad because he's been crucified, and he's clearly been dead for a while. So here's the thing: like, he's been stripped of his armor and stuff. If you had the nude mod installed,
and we did,
yeah. Bear in mind, it's only like projected to have use for during sex scenes. So you encounter this super mournful moment where you have this crucified body and it's got a raging erection.
Actually, you had the erection one too, because I don't.
Because it's just one of those things that like, you completely forget about, and you're like, oh, it's the return to Ostagar.
And you just sort of gasp, you're like, ah.
The implication being that he's really turned on by being crucified.
Rigor mortis, you know, you can't help it. Oh, I cried for like so many different reasons. It was the best thing I'd ever seen.
I'm glad I didn't play that.
I mean, everyone looks really mournful. The characters look mournful, and then there's just this raging knob on the screen, and I'm just like, oh my god.
But then it sort of becomes like boner disapproval. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, that is probably the most hysterically I've ever laughed at anything ever.
Yeah.
And then of course like everyone ran through and was like, what's that? Like, because I fell off what I was sitting on. So there was this massive thump, and like they must have heard it all over the house because everyone ran in and was like, what's wrong? And I was just breathless,
like, don't look,
crying with laughter, and I'm trying desperately to like say, don't look. And I was like, something really funny happened, just trust me. But, you know, and obviously I'm pantomiming this because I can't fucking breathe.
Something else happened. Sometimes, like, mods don't work with each other. So I don't know what I'd put in to make it break this way. But the whole of Earl Lehman's estate ended up naked. And it was like this nudist colony. And I was like, okay, we'll just pretend it's the done thing in Ferelden, shall we? But it was hilarious.
Tell you what freaked me out is that I turned the camera in one of the sections. It's one of the sections where like there's a trap where if you don't disable it, the suits of armor come to life and attack you, which is fine. But if you turn the camera a certain way, they have just these rogue floating eyeballs in their head. And I was like, well, that's weird. Fucking creepy.
I love mods.
When
they break, it's hilarious.
Yeah. I love it when like people go out of their way to do the most ridiculous hairstyles. Of course, it clips into fucking everything.
But they look so good when they stay still and don't move.
Well, to be fair, I remember just when the sex scenes happen in Origins, like you can totally see what they were trying to go with.
Yeah,
and the
it's
dead
so awkward,
faces, the wooden palette, like the whole, like the hair that looks like it's been super glued into place. It just ends up looking like this hysterical thing, especially since I ended up doing, as a laugh, just doing my several hundreds of thousands of hours in Dragon Age. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do like a male dwarf and see where the chips fall. And I ended up romancing Zebran, and I swear, like, that was friggin' hysterical.
That was an experience.
That was very much an experience, especially since the more my brain was processing it, the more I was just like, oh man, I'm just.
That was a thing.
That was a thing that happened.
I downloaded all the sex scene mods and stuff to make it look like better.
Have you seen this? I think it's Dahlia Lynn made one.
Yeah, she makes some amazing
it's
mods.
incredible. But there's this great one she's done for Amel and Cullen. So it's not just like this super romantic kiss you get, but this whole scripted sequence, and it's so good because she used snippets
and it looks
of dialogue.
legit as well.
Yeah, because
like
she used,
should have been in
it. Like she used snippets of dialogue from Hawk's voice, because of course they're cousins, which was also a weird thing I wasn't expecting.
So you're like, oh, hang on,
two of my protags are related.
Oh, that's right, they are, aren't they? Because Amel, of course.
Yeah. So it's like two of my protags are related. This is cool. And then I was hoping they'd sort of continue the tradition with the human, maybe the human mage in Inquisition, but that didn't end up happening.
Cool.
Like, yep, the Trevelyan's are very firmly not related to the Amels in any way. So it's like, oh. Balls.
But isn't no, wait, hang on, was it? No, I was just thinking for a minute, weren't one of the elves from Origins related to someone in Inquisition?
Mahariel.
But I can't remember now.
Oh god, I'd have to, because it's that thing of like,
I don't know.
I think it's just that thing of like, Meryl was originally from Clan Mahariel, but then she went to Clan Sabre.
Yeah, because she was in Origins, but she had like an American accent.
And went through a very, very distinct physical change.
Yeah.
Like, Meryl, what the fuck happened to you?
It's like, you're Welsh now?
You got younger, you developed an accent. And didn't you have different Vallaslin as well?
I think so, yeah, because you can download a mod to make them all look like they did in 2.
And no one's done, and people have only done the reverse for Zebran. Make Zebran sexy again.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my next point, just to try and get this generally on some kind of rails, is so I think we can establish that Alistair's even with that, Alistair's your favourite romance in Origins.
Yeah.
Who would you say your favourite romance is across the series?
Oh, see that's I think it's still Alistair, but I did really, really like Cullen as well. But I feel
Yeah.
like Cullen didn't get as much time because obviously he was an advisor. So Alistair still rules because it's not just the romance itself, but obviously in Origins you could take Alistair with you everywhere. So you were getting more conversations, so it
Yeah.
felt more full than what
And nothing
Cullen
is
did.
more satisfying.
But Cullen comes
yeah.
close.
Nothing is more satisfying than standing in front of Al Eamon, covered from head to toe in blood, and just saying, "Alistair, kiss me now."
Yeah, it's like, bitch. I hate what they did to Earl Eamon in Inquisition. I was like, what? Who is
Tegan,
this
Tegan,
imposter?
not
Sorry, not
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Sorry, I meant
Yeah,
Tegan.
I know who you meant. It's so easy because it's like, why he was? Because basically,
I was like, I'd
because
romance him,
I don't
not
know
anymore.
how familiar you are with like fangirl culture in general, but Tegan was basically just like.
It was Tegan and Cullen
yeah.
in the first one that everybody wanted to romance.
Yeah, so he turns up and he's, I don't know if you remember him.
He's very pretty.
Yeah, he's very pretty. And he's the guy, he's even voiced by Uncle Gamlin in 2, which is really weird in my head.
Oh god, you're right.
Because I noticed that, I was like, I can't unsee it
like,
now.
hang on a sec.
But he's defending Redcliffe and he's totally respectful of you regardless of your background. It's like, oh, that's so nice.
And he
because
flirts
you're used
a bit.
to just being people being brutally racist to you. And you can ask him like, oh, are you married? He's like, oh, no, but I would love to have my, but I'm sure my head would be turned to one as such as lovely as you. And I swear to fuck, like there are very
flattery
few
will
characters.
get you everywhere.
Yeah, there are very few characters that aren't, you know, the core 4 romances that take any sort of initiative in flirting with you that isn't just like, oh, I'm going to have sex with you regardless of your opinion on the matter. And it's like, no. But he's just like, oh, that's surprising. And the more we find out about him, the more it's just like, oh, he's really nice. Can we romance him? And then
Inquisition.
it cut to Trespasser, and it's like, what have you done?
Who is
to him?
this? I mean, now he looks more like his brother. I'll give him that. But I was like, nope.
But that was something no one asked for. No one said, "Oh, Tegan doesn't look enough like his brother." It's like, all right, then let's make him fucking hideous with a stupid hat.
Let's make him really old and really grumpy. I mean, I suppose it happens to the best of us, but still, I was quite disappointed.
But it's just like there was none of Tegan's charm from Origins there, and it just felt really unnecessary.
Who is this man, Tegan?
Yeah.
You know, like
Tegan, who is this woman?
Who is this man? Because it's not a woman.
Yeah, who is this man? Yeah. But it's just, oh god.
I wish she'd come back just so I could punch her.
Oh god, yeah.
Was it Isolde, wasn't it?
Old,
yeah.
I would love. I thought it was hysterical because the first time round I very, very much fucked up in the order I did things because I had no idea what I was doing. So I ended up fucking up getting all the mages killed by accident, and because I didn't realise how to do the Litany of Jala thing. So I was oh no, I accidentally got everyone killed. Oh no. So Isolde had to sacrifice herself to save Connor. And
shit, yeah,
dear.
that's alright. I
So,
considered it.
Yeah. Yeah, just to go, oh yeah, we have this backup solution, but I would have used that a lot more often if Alistair wasn't so distraught.
Yeah, he gets so angry. I was like, fine, I'll let her live, but only for you because you're very nice and I'm trying to get in your pants. Otherwise,
your very weird thong-like pants.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
Like the least attractive underwear in a game I have ever seen.
Yeah, I was like, well, it is the medieval times.
I know, but it's like it's still like really elasticy, and it just.
I just wouldn't bother wearing any if that was the case. If it looked like that, you might as well just go commando.
Have you ever seen that image of like the ratio to sizes they released around DA2 time? That was like humans are roughly these proportions, elves are roughly these proportions.
I was like, well, by that effect, it means that they're hung like this and they're hung like this, and this one's massive.
There was for Dungeons and Dragons, there was like way back in the day, there was a book they released called like I'm trying to remember the name, but basically it was all like the it went into like ridiculous amount of detail, like the appropriate gestation periods for certain species, which species can make with which species, and let me tell you, like devils, angels, and dragons, randy fuckers. But
of course,
yeah, it's standard, but and then there were like spells like, oh yeah, this is a spell you can cast on someone to make their dick rot off or something.
I wish I had access to that.
I will.
Because
I have
there are a few people that need their dicks rotting off.
I will send you a PDF. At the very least, you can visualize.
I've got a bloody list long that need to lose their penises.
Oh man, but
frog time.
Oh man, but
poor Minius.
No, this
can
is
talk.
this is exactly what the podcast is about. Just going.
Yeah, go.
So I'm going to let you two go, and I'm not going
You
to
know, the comment section will be like,
comments.
Minius didn't get a word in edgeways because the girls don't shut up. And to that I'll say,
Okay,
well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
This is on purpose.
But so I would have to say, like, because I'm one of those people where I love all of the romances for something, like, bar a very, very specific chunk, which is just immediate fuck off. I love each of the romances that I do like in their own way. Like, I would say that Liliana is very meh. I do love Zevran's romance, because I sort of, that was a later one, because of course I fell in love with Alistair pretty much instantly.
Yeah.
Morrigan I was fascinated by, so I loved her romance.
She was softer than she seemed,
Yeah.
but I kind of figured she'd be like witch with a heart.
Yeah,
but
but
hidden beneath.
you knew she was going to be
walls
like a
of ice.
defrosting ice queen, but she was so
Yeah.
layered, and it felt right coming from her that she was actually like mature enough to, if you had arguments like of altruism or compassion, that she would actually, if she couldn't rebut them, then she would just say, all right, I concede a little bit. You know, you could make her give a bit of
All right,
ground
fair,
that way.
yeah.
And that was a very fascinating side of her. Dragon
Yeah.
Age 2, of course, you had Isabella, Meryl, Anders, and Fenris, and anyone
Didn't like
who
any of
knows
those,
me,
and I just sulked that Varric wasn't a love interest, and I'm still bloody sulking.
did you know what was going to happen, what was going to be an option if you didn't romance anyone?
Yeah, I
flirting with
heard
Varric?
about that. I would have gone like love interestless if they'd have kept that in because Varric is a babe.
He is very much a babe, and Brian
And I
Bloom's voice.
bloody hate his stupid bloody Bianca the dwarf. She's horrible. To
I
him.
just think, like,
I was like, how dare you speak to me like that or him?
not to mention, like, they set up
Bitch.
Bianca so much. It's
Yeah,
just, like,
I
this
thought she
illusory
died
figure,
or something.
and, yeah, it's just, you
But she
didn't
just
quite
turned
know
out
what
to be
she was,
horrible.
and then it's like, oh, she just sort of ran off and left him at the altar and married someone else.
And I get it.
And then
I
she
get
kind
it,
of
but
comes
does she
in and
have to
out
be
of his
such a
life,
bitch?
and it's like, you're kind of a bitch.
I was like, Varric, you're too good for her. Leave her and run off with my hawk. Because
Yeah.
Anders is really annoying, so, you know.
Yeah, but Minius, just to clear up what I alluded to earlier, the option that was going to be, if you flirted with Varric and didn't romance anyone else, there was going to be a stinger in the credits scene where Varric meets Hawk. Bear in mind, he's very firmly saying that he has no idea where Hawk is. And Hawk would say something to the effect of, did you tell them?
Something like,
did you tell them?
Did you tell him about us? Or something?
No, yes. Did you tell them most things, but I didn't tell them about us? And
That was it, yeah.
That would have been amazing because he's such a fascinating layered character. I don't think Inquisition did quite his characterization quite
He was
enough
a bit.
justice.
He was a bit stroppy, but I understand because he felt like he was responsible for the whole thing because of the red lyrium getting out and everything.
I get that. It's
So
just that
I
if
get
you
it.
think of like between Origins 2 and Inquisition for Cullen,
Yeah.
how much of a character arc he went on with each of those titles, and like
Yeah.
he's a very vastly different person between the beginning of each game and the end of each game. Whereas with Varric, it was like, you haven't really changed. Like, I'm not asking Varric to change. It's just that the main shift in him between beginning of DA2 and end of DA2, bear in mind he's an unreliable narrator, so it's very
you don't
much
know
like
if he was.
it's hard to, it's very, very a tight line to walk, like how much you're going to say he changed between the end.
Yeah, I mean, he's not as friendly
No, but
as he was with Hawk. But then my Hawk wasn't anything like he was in DA2, so you can just still sort of say, well, it was just like Varric bigging
bringing
it up
up
for a
Nicholas
laugh or
Bolton as
whatever.
well. It's like in Inquisition, just how tired he sounds honestly was starting to make me well up with tears, because I was just like, just let him rest, just let him go home, for God's sake.
He did make quite a good quip when he was in the Fade. It's like, well, this doesn't look like Andraste's bosom or something. And I was like, there he is.
There's my special boy. But yeah, this looks nothing like the Maker's bosom. When he's standing sideways on a pillar,
musty.
it's terrific.
Yeah, I was like, that looks like an album for some sort of indie band where they're all upside down.
Oh, Jesus. But yeah, Varric, it's just like, I thought was a little weaker in characterization between Inquisition. But yeah, sorry. What was your favourite romance?
He kind of was. He was my favorite character, I think, in the whole game.
Yes.
Josephine is my
Oh,
my favorite romance.
Oh, she's very sweet. I like
Yeah.
Josephine.
I love Josephine. It's just, I think she's a terrific character. It's just, for some reason, she just doesn't romantically push enough buttons for me to romance her all the time, but I adore her as a person.
Something that David Gader said was that he thought that Cullen was the most vanilla, boring romance. And I was like, yeah, but no offense to Josie, but nothing happens there at all physically. And that's fine. Like, for a lot of people, that's great. But I mean, I would have said that was the most vanilla because it was the most traditionally sweet and innocent, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's also very potent, especially if you're a woman romancing her, that you get your big sweeping epic I shall defend my lady love moment. And I think it's a lot, say, spicier in terms of, like, it's less vanilla, but it's not something you see very often in a woman loving woman romance.
I run around with my sword killing everybody frequently.
But
whoever it is I'm banging.
But yeah, so across the franchise, I would say Fenris is my my favourite romance, just because literally there's so much about that character that starts off intimated and confirmed later on that I picked up on immediately, because I was just like, from the second that he's introduced and that guy says to him, "You're going nowhere, slave," and he only reacts after he touches him, I was like,
you're like, oh shit.
I was like, that,
you know,
like,
what's
you
happened
just
there.
have like a little ping at the back of your mind. It's just like,
yeah, especially as a woman. I think you know,
and like
knowing what people can be like.
But I've had that shit in my past, so I've had a lot of.
So yeah, you do tend to.
So you pick up there's certain, like, this
triggers,
triggers and signals, and just little signals he was giving off, and
I like how subtle they made that, because some people, when they do bring like a rape storyline into a game or a movie, it's done so blatantly that it can almost be offensive to genuine rape victims, whereas that was so subtle that I felt it was handled really well personally.
The only bit I thought was a little bit iffy was Isabella's glistening banter. It's like, is he really? Like,
well, I mean, she may not have picked up on it, so that's Izzy,
it was just one of those things where I thought it was a little bit too, like, maybe could have been like retooled slightly, but that did bug me a little. It doesn't bug me per se. It's just one of those things that I thought could have been a little stronger. But yeah, Fenris is my favorite. In Inquisition, I sort of have because that's the thing, I love Bull's romance. I think that's very fascinating.
Oh, he's very sweet.
He's deceptively very sweet. And especially there's this very sweet moment where you just had like what looks to be amazing sex, and
how the hell
and
our Inquisitor managed to take that, because he's a big boy.
Did you see someone eventually broke down because someone was like, oh yeah, I'll look at the panoramic shot and see how big Bull's dick is, and there's just this big black box.
I heard a rumor that somewhere in the files there is actually,
like, someone broke it, someone dick. Removed the box and they found his dick. I will track that photo for you and I'll send it to you, because
so it was true.
It's
I thought maybe it was like urban myth.
It's huge. I was like, wow, that is impressive. Because bear in mind,
I wish I kept that in, because that's hilarious.
Yeah, I will send it. I will send it to you. But once I track it down.
If this is just a picture of an elephant cock, I'm going to be very disappointed.
No, I swear to God, someone found the actual file with Iron Bull's dick. But because that was the thing. There was a whole conversation at one point. I can't remember what panel it was, but someone was discussing like. Oh yeah, you have no idea how dedicated the animation team is. Like, someone
they sat there, didn't
discussing like, as a joke, dick sizes, and then there was a whole penis research thing with like debate. How veiny, short, thick size should be. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, I'm
circumcised or uncircumcised.
Massive. So Einball was great. Cullen, I was dying to romance since Origins, so that was definitely something that was like a given. I was definitely gonna ride the Templar. Then, like, the one that surprised me though, the one that was like, oh, I'm fairly sure I am not going to have any.
If it's Blackwall, I'm going to disown you.
No, it was very much Solus. I was not anticipating that.
His is like fascinating, and I want to romance him, but because of bloody Cullen, I can't not with Cullen. So I really want to try and do a Solus one, but for the life of me, I just can't. I've tried, but it is. I've obviously watched clips and things, and it's fascinating and it's like heart-wrenching. So I'm gonna have to at some point try and roll an Inquisitor that just romances Solus, so that I can see what that transfers over like in potential future.
Yeah, definitely. Like, if anything,
games.
just to have it on the back burner, so you can have
the
most interesting playthrough for DA4. But because obviously I only started romancing Solus because very much I've known Gareth David Lloyd since back in the Torchwood days, so I knew he had a gorgeous voice, and I was like, oh yeah, they're keeping the Welsh accent because of course he's of course I didn't know he wasn't quote Dalish yet, but I was like, oh yeah, Dalish Welsh, they've sort of added that in because of course Eve Miles, who was also a Torchwood alumni, as was Indira Varma, who voices Vivienne. So I was like, all they need is Bern Gorman and Naoko Mori and John Barrowman have got the whole set of Torchwood. I was so tempted to go to a panel and be like, guys, who in the casting team is a big Torchwood fan? Hands up, go on.
Yeah.
But, back on track. Yeah, so Solus. And just the way he would phrase things, and I was starting to pick up that he was speaking in iambic pentameter. I was just like, that's because I was just like, there's this rhythm and it's soothing, and like even when he's sort of being combative, like when he's talking to Iron Bull and stuff, it's like he's still got this control and this command, and that's fascinating. And like even when I was like very hardly falling in love with Cullen, I was like, this guy's interesting. And then of course there's the big reveal that, spoilers, he's the Dreadwolf. He's basically the Loki of the Dragon
Age. He's not evil, he's just misunderstood. I don't think he's evil. I think it's for the greater good. We just don't fully understand.
It's very much a shades of grey situation. It's like, is he looking to do something that will inevitably cause mass death and horror across all sides? Yes. But is he trying to do it for a good reason? Yes, sort of, I guess. But it's like, I would be very intrigued how they handle that particular storyline. But
I'm super sympathetic with him.
I get it.
Which I don't think is very popular. I don't like the elves in Dragon Age because I have a stick up my butt about fantasy, and they're just.
I thought that was just going to be the end of the sentence. You just have a stick up your butt. I was like,
I should have thought I might update it, but I was like, oh, they're not like the elves I like, and they're they're trying to do something different. But yeah, should I have just not said that stick up the butt?
I think it's also like the
I think that's perfect.
I can't think of a better phrase.
Yeah, like starting with Origins and stuff. I think like the later games for me gave the Dalish a lot more context, whereas I was sort of like, okay, so they live out in the woods and their deal is that they're not gonna let the old ways die, and they're kind of a dick to anyone else. I was like, okay, but
it's basically like all bloody elves in every fantasy.
So I was just like, oh, they're standard elves, whatever. So I guess sort of brushed them off. Whereas the city elves, I was so much more interested with. Like,
I was like, I like these because they're downtrodden, and I like a good underdog.
They're too downtrodden,
and you get to go around doing the very stabby. But that's the thing in Origins, the city elf. Like, have you ever played the city elf Origin as a woman?
Yes. I was like,
Minius, have you ever played it? Yeah. Because in the City Elf Origin, if you're playing as a male, your bride and your cousin's bride gets kidnapped, and you have to break into the castle to
Guess who by? Nicholas Bolton.
I know, right?
I was like, Hawk, behave yourself. What the fuck are you doing?
I tell you what's hilarious, because I was like, my friend was playing male Hawk and I was playing female Hawk, because we were trying to get like as much of a tangent experience. So like I was doing sort of like diplomatic, because I was like, I want to get like a decent ending, so we go diplomacy, and she was doing constant snarkiness. So I was just falling in love with Nicholas Bolton's performance as Snarky Hawk. But then the more I was like, why is this voice really like making me like? There was a certain scene, like I can't remember what you were saying. I was just like, why is this making me uncomfortable? And then I was like, you're that bastard that kidnapped my city elf. But yeah, so he like if you're playing as a female, you get kidnapped and you get to slaughter the entire castle as you break your damn self out of that place. And it's like running around in a blood-soaked wedding dress is one of the most satisfying things I've ever done.
I just wish it looked a bit more wedding-y.
Yeah, it could have been a bit more wedding-y, but I think like bear in mind you can forego putting on armor just so
mods.
Yeah, mods are the way, because it was so good. And of course you gut him every time, because poor Shiani.
Damn right. Yeah, bloody trying to
Anyone
do what he did.
who doesn't gut him immediately can feel free
Yeah.
to never speak to me in any capacity.
Even if I did like an evil playthrough, there are certain things even I wouldn't
There are
fucking
lines, damn it.
tolerate, you know? Yeah.
Who's your favourite character that isn't romanceable? I'm guessing it's Varric.
Yeah,
Damn
Varric,
right, it's Varric.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there another option?
I love Varric. I really do. I'm just trying to think of because I did have my answer and now it's vanished from my mind.
I do like Ogren as well. He's good.
Ogren is terrific. Like Steve Bloom is hilarious in everything he's in.
Anything,
and
yeah.
I do adore that he's since he's gotten into Dungeons and Dragons, he's come out and said that his D&D character is basically Ogren but even weirder. And I was like, no, get on a stream right now and play D&D.
Yeah, stick him on Critical Role.
To see what Ogren but weirder is. So, oh god, who would I even pick?
I bet it's got Ogren's voice as well.
Yeah, I bet it does. Like, how can you not love a character that you can outdrink? Stone! And you can short wire his brain by agreeing to having a lady prostitute if you're a lady. Like,
and he just passes out.
That's just terrific. I love it. But, God. I'm going to sit on that one. I might come up with it at the end. But yeah, there isn't Varric just to have an interesting something else to say.
Always Varric.
It's
there is
always
only Varric.
I know.
I want him to be romanceable in this next game so much, but I bet he's probably not even going to be in it beyond maybe a cameo.
He'll probably just be a cameo.
Stupid Bianca.
I just can Varric be in a polyamorous relationship with Hawk and their love interest, please.
Can I kill Bianca though?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, deal.
Her laboratory had a convenient explosion and she's not around anymore.
What a shame.
Guess you're single now, Varric.
Yeah, she got stuck in one of her contraptions. Oh dear.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the strangest thing. It's spring trapped around her head in a way that it was totally not designed to do.
Yeah, spring trap.
Suddenly turns into a fucking Saw movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wanna play a game?
Yeah.
That sounded more like Hulk Hogan. Wanna play a game, brother?
So what would you say your favourite story twist was?
Oh god, it has to be Solus's. Like the whole thing. I was just like, what?
For sheer emotional gut punch, because
yes, that fucking trespasser ending. I cried.
Yeah, I think I would have
I wasn't
to
even
say
romancing him.
For sheer gut punch value, and just sort of that no is Anders' betrayal and the Chantry exploding at the end of
I thought it was hilarious. I was like, you dick. What did you do that for?
Just because I was like, I was just so... I think everyone has that reaction to some extent, but it was just that thing of like, you have that mage run up to you and it's like, oh god, I fear there will be blood between Meredith and Orsino, and you're like, yes, I've got to fucking be diplomatic about this shit again. Obviously I imagine you didn't have that reaction. It's like, I guess I'm gonna go snark at Orsino and Meredith again. But I was just like, I guess I've got to, desensitize that. Oh, fun fact, when I first playthrough I did of DA2, I played Rogue, so I had Bethany. I made 2 aggressive options in that entire playthrough. One was when Cullen comes to get Bethany because I left her in the out the Great Deep Roads, and my Hawk's response was over my dead body. And when Meredith at the beginning of Act 3 tries to use you as a political pawn by saying like, oh, didn't your mother suffer at the hands of mages or something to that effect? And Hawk just turns around and says, leave my mother out of this. And like, you see fear in Meredith's eyes for the first time in that entire fucking game. And I was like, yeah, so those are the only 2 options. But I was just like, oh, I guess I'm going to have to de-escalate this. And the more the cutscene's playing out, the more it's just like, yep, this is pretty tense. And then Anders said, because he wasn't in my party at the time, because I was like, you know what, maybe dragging the Renegade Mage right in front of the Knight Commander isn't the best idea. So I sort of deliberately picked my party to not reflect that. So he just turned about and I was like, why are you here?
Like, it was me! And I was like, you dick.
And then he's doing his Justice Glowy Eye shit. It's like, Anders, this is a no-no.
I was like, dude, calm down. There's a Templar right there.
Exactly. It was like, there's the whole fucking army of Templars right there. And then, of course, he does the... And also, oh my god, thank you for the genius who pointed out that Flemeth's last line at the end of the prologue and Anders' line before the Chantry blows up are exactly the same.
What was that?
There can be no peace.
Oh shit, you're right.
Oh my god! Like, because I never thought to.
I didn't even pick up on that.
Exactly. I never thought to thematically link. Flemeth and Anders together, but in that moment they have this. Those two moments, they have the same line.
Like she was predicting it in the same.
Exactly.
Like, careful.
And she's saying it to Aveline as well, so it sort of like almost distances you from it. And
yeah, because she's by that point at the end, she's pretty much like God Captain of Kirkwall, isn't she? So.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So when.
Deep man.
Yeah. So. Fucking Flemeth, man.
Damn it, Anders.
damn it, Anders. I actually had. Oh god, what's his name? I'm blanking on the name of the guy who voices Anders.
Adam Howden.
That's the one. Adam Howden. I met him and Gideon Emery, and I actually had him sign my little Anders photo.
Damn it, Anders.
God damn it, Anders. But I thought he did a terrific voice, especially since like Greg Ellis, who voiced Anders originally in Awakening.
Yeah.
I thought he did a terrific job, Adam Howden, sort of finding a new take on the character, especially since he was technically, you know, both Justice and Anders.
Yeah, because Anders in Awakening was basically like Alistair 2.0, just like a little bit hornier. You know?
Yeah, a little bit randier.
Yeah.
I think it's that thing of like some people were so annoyed, like so up in arms. It's like he's completely different. It's like no, he's definitely angry. He's definitely got some seeds there. He's just sort of resigned to it. Whereas now he's got Justice in his head, basically saying no, action.
David Gader.
Yeah.
David Gader said if he could do it again, he said he'd make the transition from Anders' Awakening personality to Anders in DA2 more smooth. So perhaps I think he gave an example of Anders would be more juvenile and stuff. Juvenile, is that in the world?
Juvenile, I know what you mean.
Juvenile and silly and a bit childish to start off with, and then the more Justice, it was Justice, wasn't it, the spirit? Because I haven't played it. Yeah, the more Justice has more influence, the more his personality would then change to be more serious and depressed and like the Anders that we knew in Dragon Age 2. So it would have been more believable, I guess. Yeah. But
I agree. There was also an idea that I saw this on Tumblr, and they did have sort of fan art illustrations of it. I think there was some like in-game code for it, but Anders was eventually between Act 1 and 3 going to become more and more corpse-like. And
that's right, yeah.
I saw that's horrifying. It's scary, and no. So, Minius, what's your favorite story twist?
It's got to be the Trespasser. I know it's not interesting, but it's not close. So
yeah, it's also one of those things that there are sort of the Anders blowing up the Chantry is the big twist, and
but you kind of saw that coming though. It was like, oh my god, he did it. I was like,
I did say, look, you know, go and warn her, but I didn't pick up on it.
This douchebag's gonna do it.
Exactly, but
like this douchebag's gonna do something stupid, and he's like, oh, he did it. What a douchebag.
I think it's also just because by the end of even like the first campaign of Inquisition, and even though I'd stayed well clear of spoilers, there were certain things I was picking up on. I was just like, this is weird. Like you see, like especially since like the more you get into it, Solus is a terrible fucking liar. Just like there are things he lets slip in Inquisition that are like, oh man, is this your first time being like in espionage or something? Like there's that complete person.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
If I knew that he was the Dread Wolf before it came out or after, because I knew so many things back then, but it was like a bit of a rough time for me when it came out.
Yeah, so it's a bit
lot of it is kind of a blood. So I know I was like, oh, what a twist, but I don't remember. I don't remember if I knew beforehand or not. But it was still a good twist.
It's a perfectly executed twist. It's just that there were certain things I was picking up on. Like there's a bit where if you go to the Emerald Graves, Blackwall says like, man, this place hasn't changed since I was a child. And Sansa says, it's changed so much since I was last here. I was like, you are so new at this. But there's one bit he says as well. It's like, bear in mind, like, I've sort of not studied Elven. I don't want to give myself an impression, but I just knew, I paid attention enough times to the Elven bits and the suffixes and the prefixes and looked at the translations of it that I basically have, like, a passable grasp of roughly what people are saying in Elvish at any given time. So
Yeah.
when he says that line to Abelas, which is, I forget exactly what the translation is, but he says to you, bear in mind, even if you're an Elven Inquisitor and you speak Elven, he says to you, oh, I told him that I hope he finds a new name. And I was looking at it, I was like, because I went back, because I sort of like replayed it in my head. I was like, no, you didn't. Like, bear in mind that he at one point uses lean, that is definitely in there, and that's blood. I was like,
What does he say then?
I
If
forget,
it's not what he claims.
someone did a rough translation of it, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But I just remember having this instinct in the back of my head, like, you didn't say what you just fake translated
doesn't
back to me.
surprise me.
That doesn't reflect, and it's, of course,
Because the game doesn't translate it for
Yeah.
you in like subtitles, so you don't know what the fuck
Exactly.
he's saying.
And
you
I-
don't know
and I took,
what Elven is, and I didn't.
Yeah, but I took Solus into the Fade because I was like, I want to see what he's like in the fucking Fade.
Oh yeah, he was like, this is fascinating. I was like, of course it
And
bloody
of
is.
course, like the big super red flag for anyone, like this is going to be a twist, is that the Desire demon, sorry, the Fear demon rather, spoke to him in Elven, and it's like Detharama, which is tell me Solus, which is of course Elven for pride. So it's like tell me pride, and it's something to the effect of was it all worth it? Something to that effect.
Yeah.
And Solus's response is Banal Nadas, which is basically nothing is certain. And I was like, that's so good! Because that's why I love
It's
going
all
the
laid out
extra
in front
mile.
of you, but you don't necessarily
Yeah.
pick up on it because of like the translation and
Yeah.
because like it's so subtle at times. Like on the gravestone, what was Solus scared of? Being
Alone.
alone. And it wasn't
Dying
as in
alone.
like romantically or die, that was it, but it was without his brethren.
Yeah.
Because he's fucking locked them fuck knows where.
Yeah.
Other side of the Fade.
Yeah. So, what's one character you could bring back in the next game if you had the power?
Varric, so that I can romance him.
Like a side, like it's for literally that purpose, but a sort of a side character who's gone away specifically to Tevinter and who I'm desperate to see explored a little more is Fainriel, who's a side character from Dragon Age 2 who explicitly has dream magic.
The dreamer guy, yeah.
Somniari. And it's like, he's going to be sent to Tevinter to study, and I'm like, well, that's going to be very fucking useful, like in combating Solus in the Fade or something. So I want to see him come back. And do you have one, Minius?
Yeah, I don't think they can bring Alistair back that much because
No, they should just leave
he'll
him
just
alone
have
and
to
not
be-
try and
yeah.
kill him anymore.
I just want him to
Not
be
allowed.
happy and have a happy marriage with my queen of Ferelden Warden.
Yeah, I just want him to leave my fucking warden and my hawk and all the relationships and romances from before and just leave him alone and stop trying to fucking kill him off.
Yeah.
Okay.
For Christ's
Like,
sake.
these
That's
ones are
probably a
safe.
better
This is-
idea.
This is the safety pen. These characters are safe no matter
Patrick
what.
Weeks, leave them alone.
Oh, can you imagine if Patrick Weeks ended up
Thank
killing
God
Alistair?
David Gatorade still. Like, I will scream the place down. I'll get my pitchfork
Yeah.
and my torch and I'll go
Can
and
you
stalk the place
imagine?
down.
It's like, can you imagine literally like the torches and pitchforks reaction that would be awaiting
I'll
them?
be like the T800. I won't bloody leave them alone until they sort that shit out.
Just like rewrite it. Like you turn into Annie Wilkes, wouldn't you?
Yes, I'll have my Annie Wilkes moment, which
Oh,
wouldn't be the
God.
first time.
So here is what's one character you would remove if you had the power. I have
What,
one
from
with
the
a bullet.
series?
Yeah, Sebastian.
Man,
Oh my god, like he's DLC to begin with,
don't
so
know.
he is literally superfluous regardless of which way you cut it.
Mega,
And
no.
Mega, no, like even for the meme, and the fact that his whole story arc, quote unquote story arc, is just navel gazing. Oh,
It's just not putting out ever.
no. No, this chastity belt is staying on. I was so tense, like
Yeah, it's got a face on it and all. I was
Yeah.
like, nope.
because that's the thing I wanted to
Okay,
because someone was making a point, and it's a totally valid point that they were sort of feeling they were ace, and they were saying they were feeling a bit bad. The response to Sebastian being like, oh, he should put out or whatever. It was sort of hurtful to them, and I very gently, because obviously I didn't want to say, oh, your feelings are invalid or anything, but it's just
Yeah.
the point was I don't know, for most people, it wasn't that he wasn't having sex with Hawk, throughout the entire romance.
It was that he was bloody flirting with Bethany.
Yeah, he was never saying that he didn't experience sexual attraction or didn't enjoy sex, or was about. He was just saying that because
just like, I used to put out a lot and now I don't.
Yeah, exactly. So he was never saying that he was asexual or that he felt uncomfortable with sex, except for when Isabella brought it up specifically to fuck with him.
Yeah.
But so that was his point. Whereas then he's like, oh yeah, Hawk, bear in mind, obviously, Hawk is your avatar, but is written to have a few sexual comments every now and again, so is kind of implied to be a sexual being. And it's like, can you give up this whole physical side of our relationship because of a religion that you may or may not have much stake in? It kind of feels a bit shitty.
Yeah, I just felt like it was like, I had lots of sex, but not with you, kind of thing. But he wasn't Ace.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I think they should have made him Ace and done it properly,
like committed
rather than
to it.
using
Because at
the
least if
religion
he'd
thing.
said like, oh, he was never comfortable with sex, that would have been something.
Yeah, and then he'd be like, okay, yeah, fair enough, cool.
All right. That's it for this week. If you like this show, tell your friends. If not, tell your enemies. We're happy either way. Accidentally Casual is a weekly podcast. It's on YouTube and it's on SoundCloud. It releases, like I said, every week. You can check our Twitters for the release date, but the time is always the same. It's noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and 8 p.m. in the UK. Although daylight savings time, we do that at different times. It's going to fuck something up. I'm at MiniusGC. Seeker is at SeekerCat5500. The Absent Tucker runs N7 Follower. You can also catch Ability Drain at Ability Drain. Join us next week as we talk about a topic we haven't discussed yet, because this one's releasing later. It's going to be fantastic. You can email questions and topic suggestions and visuals for the podcast at accidentallycasual@gmail.com. Extra content is at our YouTube channels, BioWare Central, MiniusGC, and Ability Drain. So, for the three of us and the Tucker, I want to remind you to try and game happy.
Do it, or I'll come for you, angrily, not sexily. Enchantment?
Enchantment!